Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my channel if you're new here. My name's Sarah and I am the mom of a 14-month-old little boy named George. And today I'm going to be taking you for a tour around our apartment and showing you how we've set up our home so that we can Montessori at home. So yes, we do live in a small space and our budget is limited, but that does not mean that we cannot Montessori at home. So this is super important to me. I think there's a little bit of a misconception that you need to have a lot of money to do Montessori at home, and I just don't think that that's true. For me, the biggest part and the most exciting part is the viewpoint of raising the kids. Once I heard about Montessori, I really fell in love with it very quickly, as I think a lot of Montessorians do, and I just dove right into it and really got excited about the whole concept and learning more and more. So, like I said, this is going to be a bit of a tour of our apartment and how we've set up the space. So I will touch a little bit on the shelf and a little bit on the materials, but honestly, that is really a very small fraction of how I view our Montessori lifestyle. Sure, the toys are definitely a fun part of it. I love scrolling through social media as well and getting ideas and getting excited about stuff, but really it's such a small fraction of all the stuff that we do in terms of setting up the home. It has a lot to do with respectful parenting, positive discipline. It has a lot to do with teaching independence and cultivating self-worth in him and the confidence and all that stuff. That's really the biggest piece of the puzzle for us anyways, and the materials and the shelf stuff is definitely a small piece. We have fun with it, but it's just a small piece. This is worth saying again. It is not about the materials. It's not about the toys. What I want the main sort of focus of this video to be is not so much about the shelf and the materials, but more about how we've set up the home in terms of how he can have access to different things and how he can go about his day and feel the most independent as I feel comfortable, being that he's only 14 months old. So that brings me to the next point. We don't actually Montessori at home 100%. I do it as much as I feel comfortable and as much as I can. There are a couple different sort of situations around our home where, because he's so small, I still don't feel comfortable with a couple of things. I know other people do, and that's cool. And also just some things logistically don't exactly work. So this is going to be a little bit of a how we Montessori at home for sure. However, it's also going to be a little bit of how we don't Montessori at home and how I don't incorporate certain aspects and how I probably will, and I would love to, but realistically, it's just not possible in some certain situations. So I will take you on a tour and show you that. All right, let's go take a look. So since we already talked about the shelves and the material thing, I'm gonna start off with the shelves and the materials just to get it out of the way. Don't get me wrong, I have a lot of fun with the shelves, but I just want to make note that it's really not the most important part. And also I want to note that a ton of pretty much all of our materials I've either thrifted, found on Marketplace for a super cheap price, or they were gifted to me. Just want to throw that out there. Keep in mind when you're searching for your materials, check out the thrift stores. A few of my friends have gotten me into thrifting recently and I am newly obsessed. It's like Montessori heaven in there occasionally. It's hit and miss, but when you get a hit, it's like the best ever. Anyways, this is our shelf area. The shelf area has definitely evolved for us. If you've followed us in some other videos, you might have seen my previous setup, which was shelves where there's like bins in it and it was much smaller. You know, it did the trick. And that's the point I really want to drive home here. Whatever you have, you can work with and it can still be considered Montessori. Just make it accessible and at your child's level. So this is my new shelf, just the IKEA shelf, and I'm super excited about it, and I have a few different materials on here. I won't go into exactly the materials that I have out right now. If you want to see like the more like shelfy stuff and like get ideas for your shelf work, I do put out some of that stuff on my Insta. I also have a video on DIY Montessori materials. I love a good DIY as well, so I'll link that in the cards and in the description box below. Yeah, so this is our current shelf setup. Here, I'll come on the other side. Shelves, it's pretty self-explanatory. Shelves, materials. This little chair I absolutely love. It is a trash area find. We have a storage unit, and in the front of the storage building, there is an area where people just leave things that they don't want anymore. So it's kind of like a take and leave kind of area, and I found this little chair. I was so excited when I found it. I scooped it up right away. It's just perfect for his height, and I have a couple of stuffed animals here. George loves stuffed animals. I do try to keep them as realistic as possible. So you'll see we have a little penguin guy here, and I've got his doggy. Oh my gosh, the dog is like his favorite right now. One of his first words is woof. Anytime he sees a dog or hears the word dog even, he'll go woof, 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 woof. It is adorable. So anyways, I try to keep his stuffed animals realistic if I can. If we get gifted one that's not, I'm not gonna like not put it out for him, but if I can, I will try to acquire more realistic looking stuffed animals, because if you don't know, Montessorians tend to veer towards more realistic looking things versus fantasy cartoony type things, because when the kids are younger, they have a really hard time differentiating between reality and fiction, and I believe that's up until age 6. So I try to keep everything as realistic as possible, and we might as well be learning about realistic things anyways, because there's so much fun stuff to learn about that we want to take up our time with learning about that kind of stuff and experiencing that kind of stuff. But that's just us. And like I said, I'm not a super stickler for this thing. I just try to veer towards the realistic looking type stuff. So that is our shelf area. I just wanted to stop and take note real quick right here. These are little mirror stickers, actually. They are not breakable. I don't know exactly what they're made of, but they're not glass, like they're not real mirror. They're just stickers, and there's 6 of them up here. They were relatively inexpensive on Amazon, and they're just so fantastic because, as a lot of us know, babies love to look at themselves in the mirror, and I think it's important that he sees himself and his body and how he moves, and it's just, I just love these stickers, so I will link those in the description below for you guys. And right next to our shelf work, we have our weaning table. So it's just a kid-size table and chairs. We call it a weaning table, but basically it's a table that he can sit at to eat, and he can get up and leave freely if he is finished eating his meal. Right now I just have a wooden bowl with a couple of realistic animal figurines in there, which he loves right now. I kind of switch up what's on the table. Sometimes I'll just leave it blank, but often I'll put a puzzle there, or I'll put a toy that maybe was on the shelf and he hasn't been working a lot with, and I'll put it on the table because he's more likely to go to the table first because it's right there, almost like an invitation to play. And if he's still not going for that toy, if it's even on the table, then I know to put it away and rotate it out and come back to it at another time. Now this is where we're veering off course of the Montessori thing a little bit. So I love our table and chairs. I found it thrifting. I actually still have to give it, I'm planning on giving it like a little sand, and I'm gonna paint it white. It's like a soft pink right now. But anyways, I love the idea of him eating at this little table, and in reality, that isn't always 100% realistic. So I love the idea of him sitting at the table and eating his food and getting up when he's done, but he is still, I'm finding, just a little bit too small for that. He will get up and try to eat standing up. He'll get up and bring his food and try to go play, and now we're running into tantrums, and it's become a little bit of a thing. So what I've done with the weaning table is we'll sit and we'll do activities at it. He'll stand and he'll do activities at it, and I've been doing snacks and some lunches that aren't like super messy or like saucy foods, and we're just practicing slowly and doing it more and more often since I've acquired this a couple of months ago. The weaning table is something that we're sort of slowly working on, and the meal times is something that I'm not 100% Montessori about right now, but we're working towards getting there. I do plan on maybe putting some fresh flowers in the summertime out there. He's just starting to not mouth everything, so maybe once the springtime hits is when I'm going to start putting some nice flowers out for him. But yes, so our weaning table is directly below our TV. You'll notice that there's cardboard and tape right here. That's actually our Xbox, and he has been loving putting things inside of the Xbox lately, so I had to protect it a little bit. So that's what's up with that. So anyways, this is our sort of the corner of our living room. He's got his weaning table right below the TV, and then he's got his little sort of corner and nook right here. That's our back door right there. I've got a couple of plants there. Eventually I will be putting some plants on his level, but right now I just don't trust him not to get into the plants and into the dirt, and with the cats as well, they like to get into the plants, so keeping them up there right now is just a little more realistic for us. But yeah, that's his little corner. Right here, I have his chalkboard. Doing a little bit of work on that not long ago, so he tries to kind of get that out himself. He knows where it is, but it often gets stuck and things like that. But if he's trying to get it out, then I know to come over, and I know that he wants to work with it. But as he gets bigger, I'm sure he'll get better at sliding that out. Everything I try to do in a small space is very compact and easy to put away. This is my little craft cart right now. I've started to do a little bit of coloring with him. We do the chalkboard, and then I do my own DIY stuff, so all that is just in there. He doesn't really go into that. I don't know, he just doesn't seem interested. Next up, I'm gonna stop at the hallway entrance. So this was one of the first little spaces that I made for George. So in Montessori, we do try to gear towards natural materials and steer away from plastics if possible. However, for us, that's not 100% realistic, mostly because of the cost. Plastic is just more affordable. At this point in time, it's what we have. I think the important part here is that everything is accessible for George. So I just have a couple of command hooks put up right here. I have 2, and I've heard about this idea and it is just fabulous. So all of his little coats, I just put these rings. I believe I got this idea from, hopefully I pronounced her name right, Melina Sicati, I think. Anyways, I will link her YouTube channel below because I don't know her and I'm not affiliated with her, but she's someone that I've been watching for a long time and definitely look up to in terms of content creation. So anyways, I got this idea from her. These ones are actually from the dollar store. They're shower curtain rings, but if you go to an office supply store and find binder rings, they work as well, and you just put them through the little hook thing on the back of their jackets, and it's just so much easier for their little hands to grab hold and try to learn to put up their jackets. So George started learning how to put up his jacket basically as soon as he could walk, which was at 10 months, and now he can put his jacket on and off the hook easy, no problem. And the only thing is that he actually will put it on and will say, oh, you did it, and then leave it, but he'll, right away kind of take it off and then want to put it back on and take it off. So, it's kind of funny that he won't just put it on and keep it there, but we're working on it. But yes, he can put his jackets away, and he even knows. He said, okay, George, can you go get your jacket? We're gonna go out. He'll go over here and he'll take his jacket off. He can't put his jacket on himself, but he will, bring it over. He also, if he wants to go outside, he will bring his jacket or his shoes over. It's adorable. But anyways, so I just have his winter jacket on one, and I have his little snowsuit on the other one. And one of the key things when they're this little, I've noticed, is everything needs a place, and it needs to be very simplistic. So like one hook for one specific thing, one basket for one specific thing, and that's it. Like super minimalistic. I think that's why Montessori and minimalism go so hand in hand, because it just works with kids. They like very simple things. It's how they learn. If it's too much, then it's overwhelming and they can't focus. These hooks right here are for his hats. 2 of the hats, he has 3 hats. 2 of his hats are in the car right now, but that's where he puts his hats. Down here we have 3 bins. I just got these at the dollar store. One is for his little shoes, 1 are for his boots, and the little one over here is for his mittens. And he knows where everything goes, and that's how we've set up our hallway. So I'll give you a little close-up here of his jacket area, his little hook for his hats, and then down here is got his shoes in one basket, his boots in the other, and then his little mittens go in that basket. Here's the view. Stand back. Our Dave and I's things are up there, and then his things are just below there in his little nook. I do have a little stool there for him to sit and get his boots and shoes on. Again, it's just a plastic little place for him to sit from the dollar store, but I think the point is that he has a place that's just for him that he can sit and put his boots on. With that being said though, I do sit on it to put my boots on, just to model that that's what we use it for. And that is our entranceway. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap up the video for the week. If I film the entire tour in one video, then it's going to be a really long video, I'm noticing. So stay tuned. You're invited to come next week. I will put out a part 2 of the other half of our tour of our apartment and how we Montessori at home. In the meantime, thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, the like button, the notification bell, and leave me a comment. I'd love to hear from you. All right, see you guys next week. Bye.